Okay, it appears to be another bullish day. We got a trend line break on the 500 tick chart on the MNQ micros for the NASDAQ, and you can see it right here pretty clearly. Nice trend line break down right here. And we get in. I got in late, which bites, but what I would like to have done was get in on the wick as it comes back down here, but I didn't do that. It started to turn green, and I jumped in again right there. The stop loss was under the candle that broke the trend line. You could do the pivot, but a lot of times I don't like to lose very much. And if it keeps going up, I'll move my stop off to the next pivot. And that's where my stop is right there now at the next pivot. Sometimes when it hits 1-to-1, I'll break even, but my stop losses are so tight sometimes that 1-to-1 is not very much room, and I need to give it a little bit more room. So I just moved it up from my original stop loss, like I said, which was the candle that broke the trend line. The candle that broke the trend line, because my favorite setup is if it comes back to test the trend line, it won't break that candle usually. That's my setup. And so if it comes back down and stops me out, at least I won't have a full stop loss. I'll only have a little less, but we'll see what happens here. It's trending up nicely, you know, and the moving averages are expanding, right? Got a nice pivot right here, but anything can happen. And 15-minute chart, it already tested this area. It's rotating up nicely. This candle right here, though, this 15-minute candle is pretty shaky. It looks like it wants to go up, but it could chop around, and that's the dangerous part, the chopping in the first 15 minutes. But the trend line break looked good, so I wanted to take it. Now, if this rotates up here, goes over this high, I'll move my stop to that pivot there, and we'll be in the green. But I got to wait for it to at least break this trend line right here. There's another trend line coming down right here. Let's see what happens, and stay tuned. I'll keep you posted. Okay, stopped out on that trade, and that happens. You know, that we could look for another trend line break and keep trying it. Problem is, if it's a choppy sideways day, it's just going to continue to stop me out. Okay, it's just going to keep stopping you out. And so this way, I'm going to just wait for it to. I've got to wait now. I'm going to wait for the 15 minutes. It's only been 9 minutes, so now I'm going to wait for 15 minutes to pass to see what this is going to do. Now see, if we get a red bar ignored under this trend line, a red bar under the trend line coming down, and then it goes up over the top of it, I think I will give that a try. That's one of my favorite little setups here. So let's see what happens. The problem is there's another trend line coming down from these two pivots here. So I could wait for this trend line. And there's the red bar pintail. That's a good sign. Red bar pintail under the trend line. Here it goes, trying to see. This is a tight stop loss right here that I like.
Order filled.
Now I got a stop loss. I'm going to put my stop loss right under that candle that's developing green right now, because it's very, very small.
Order submitted.
Very, very small. See, small stop loss under that candle. The red bar is being in. Now I should have waited for that to close. That only problem is I'm getting antsy and I'm
Order
getting in,
filled.
and it stopped me out. So what I was hoping on that was that it would develop a green candle, and I should have waited for it to close. Okay, so that's a mistake. Let's see if it closes above that. There, see, that's what I don't like.
Order
I'm going to get
filled.
in again. Stop loss under that green candle. And let's try it one more time.
Order submitted.
Here. I don't mind taking a bunch of trades because my stop losses are usually really, really tight. So if I have a 25% win rate, and I have a tiny little stop losses on them, and the ones that win, I let get 4 or 5 R return, then that's good. But here's the problem. I said I was going to wait for 15 minutes, and I didn't. So here's that second trend line coming down right here from those two peaks right here. It had a pintail above it. It's a red bar under it. So if it's green over the top of it, that's going to be good. And this is exactly where it could fail. And if it fails, I don't want to stop loss too far down there. And if it hits me 3 in a row, I'm definitely going to take a pause. I know I said I'll wait 15 minutes, and I didn't. That's a problem too, because that could have been the best idea for me. I really like to trade. I love to challenge, and the problem is it creates a lot of bad trades. But
Order
there it
filled.
goes. That's the 3rd one in a row. Now I do definitely have to wait. All right, if I keep failing like this, it's going to be hard to be a successful trader. Here's another trend line break. I got in right there, and I'm going to keep my stop underneath this pivot here this time because of the consolidation.
Order submitted.
There it is. This is my 4th trade, and it's got to work because there's too many losses in a row. But if I take 10 trades a day, and I'd like to get at least 2 or 3 of them to be successful, because the risk reward that I have is able to do that. So, but they got to be quality trades. And if I can get better trades, then my strategy will work. I got to stop. This is sideways. I should have waited for this consolidation to break, right? And then I might have something. But the trend line is what's got me in it. Over the trend line. Well, I went over the trend line twice here. This is the 3rd time over here, and I had 1 over here. So that's 4 trades altogether. Now, if it works, I'll look like a genius. If it doesn't, I'm going to look like a schmuck for continuing to take all these trades. But I will show you the P&L for these losses if that's what I need to do, that because I want to see for myself, what the suffering is on that. So let's take a look at that real quick. It's doing the 2 scoop boogie little dance right here. It almost ticked me out right there, but yeah, it literally came one tick away on that speak. I didn't put it right under the pivot. I like to be a couple of ticks away. If I'm going to be under a pivot, I don't want to be right under the pivot. I like to be a couple of ticks away. You should do that too. I think it's a pretty smart thing to do. But we're still waiting to see if this 4th trade is going to be a success or not. Okay, it did get me, and it's one of those things where, pride's got me wanting to keep trying to beat it. So, and I broke my rule about 15 minutes after the first couple of trades or something. And now if it goes in my favor, it could be one of those days where you were right, but you just didn't wait. And I need to get that through. I need to work through all that before I can be more accurate and professional. So that's fine. I'm okay. Let's take a look at the losses on those 4 trades so far today. Okay, at the moment I'm down about 94 bucks. 4 trades, $94. One trade could easily get you over $100 with these micros if you let it go 4 or 5 return. 1 trade to break even after 4 losses. Now I could have avoided those losses if I had waited for 15 minutes. And that's one of my main problems. And doing a good journal like this, a video journal, watching the videos, understanding from your own mouth with your own eyes, seeing your own trades, and recognizing failures is the only way to overcome them, by the grace of God, hopefully. So anyway, that's where we're at so far. And I will see you on the next video. I think that's enough. We're real quickly here now. Look at this. Is one of my favorite setups right here that I did not wait for. Trend line again, but see, I don't trust this trend line anymore. So I might have not took this, but on a regular tip, if this was the trend line break right here, when it tests that, when it comes in to double test the trend line, starts turning green, a lot of times I can go green. I can get into the trade right there and have a little stop loss. So my entry and my stop loss are right here, and I'm already at 2 to 1. I like that setup off a trend line at a pivot level, and maybe I should have waited, because now we're past 15 minutes. And I could have saw that, and I could have taken that, and I could have avoided 2 other trades that I lost, right? And I'd be green right now if I did that. So right now I'm going to try to be patient and wait, because this area right here is untrustworthy. It really is. You can't, unless I buy at the bottom and sell at the top and play a little tight range, which I think I'm going to go from trendline break to range trading. It's another one of my favorite strategies on this channel, where I just showed you this. It doesn't need a trend line down here. You don't need a trend line. You just need a pivot, right? You just need a pivot over here. And when you see it, if it does coordinate with other confluences like trend lines and moving averages and stuff, it's even better. It's even stronger of a probability. So right now I have to wait. Even this little, I like this a little bit. It's just so choppy, this little consolidation right here. But I'm not sure if I trust it to break out. It probably could and will, but the way it's been acting right now, I just don't know. Maybe I wait for a breakout and see what it does on a retest as it pulls back, and see if I can get back in it for something. I like and I don't like what's going on in the 15-minute chart. I like that it's pintailing at the bottom right here. Pintails. Got these 2 pintails. If that candle closes in a pintail, I'm going to like it. And I almost took this red bar ignored right here. But it's coming up into this resistance. So I wanted it to kind of head fake to the downside and then start to turn green down here. And that's another thing I like to do, but it sometimes it'll chop around, head fake you, and then take off like you really wanted it to do in the beginning, and then you just miss the trade. And you know, some days are like that, guys. You can't you can't trade perfectly. All we can try to do is manage the risk, have a stop loss daily limit. For me, I don't like to lose more than 250 in a day. So I've got a little bit more room here, but I really got to be more selective with my trades. After $100 down, I got to be a little bit more selective. And I almost took this trade right here, long right here, stop loss right here. It'd already be over 1-to-1, and that would have been really nice, but I didn't take it because of the losing so much. But that's my strategy. Lots of losses, a couple big hits, and I'm profitable that way, hopefully. So I just want to throw that in the video here. Now we're getting to that top pivot right here, where we could see some kind of a, if it's going to keep going. And sometimes I have a momentum trade that I like, which I will let it break out and look for a red bar ignored and take the red bar as my entry point. This is looking to set up. Let me see if it happens. If something happens, I'll put it on the video. Okay, the momentum trade, the range trade, the trend line breaks, and then I have something called scaling in. I'm going to switch strategies, but look at this trend line break on the 15-minute chart. You see how just choppy it wants to get over the top of it. It did get over the top of it. It hasn't closed under it since it broke. It just has spiked down twice. So I like that for a continuation up. So on a different account, I'm going to buy one.
Order filled.
And I'm going to use this area, and on this particular account, a $250 stop loss. All right, which means I switched accounts. I did my trend line strategy on one account, and now I'm going to switch into my scaling strategy with $250 maximum loss on it, which means I can let it move around. If it goes to 250 loss, I stop out no matter where I'm at in the scaling process. And it's not quite like dollar cost averaging. Dollar cost averaging is where you don't have a stop loss. You just blow your accounts. You just keep adding and hope that and pray that it goes up without any strategy. My strategy is bullish. I'm in a single direction here. I want it to go up. I believe it's going to go up. My maximum loss is $250, and I'm starting with 1 micro. Okay, so if it comes down, I want to add to it. And the idea is that it's bullish. The idea is that I'm going to scale into my position and bounce it up in the direction that I believe it's going, which is bullish. Now, if it fails, you get out at your stop loss, which is $250. So I have to do that if it goes against me. All right. But I don't have to get out of anything. If this thing keeps chopping around and doing whatever it wants here, as long as I'm not $250 down on that thing, I'm still going to stay in this particular trade. This is a completely different strategy. This is not a trend line break strategy. I had a couple opportunities right here. If I would have just waited 15 minutes, this was the best down at the pivot level. Red bar ignored for a 2-to-1 return. Missed both of those because I over traded before the 15-minute mark. So I'm not going to try a trend line break on that account today. Different account, different strategy. So let's see how that works. Okay, we're 35 minutes into the trading day. We have another, what I like, a trend line break right here with an opportunity. I don't see any red bar ignores though. You know, this, it's good when there's a red bar here or a red bar here because it's tested. And sometimes there it is. There it's starting to turn red right here now. And that's kind of like where I'd like to jump in, keeping a stop loss just underneath those moving averages or something, because if it keeps coming down. Today is a very untrustworthy day, however. The choppiness of this is very untrustworthy. I'm already in the trade with a different strategy. I'm just constantly observing the trend line break strategy to see what's working, what's not working in that particular day. And right now, the trend line strategy is not really working. So, and right here, a bounce off of these areas, something real tight. As soon as it bounces and starts to move up, you're in the green. I'm already in the trade on a range trade, on a scaling strategy, so I'm not going to take this. But sometimes I'll add to my other trading strategies when I see a good trend line break opportunity. That's when I'll scale in some more. So it just depends on what the market is giving. Okay, we have a pivot area here where I have to try it. Oh, and we'll see if it works or not. Remember the $250 maximum limit on this particular trade. We'll see what happens. I mean, you can't be shocked when it sweeps these levels. It came all the way down and swept all three of those stop loss levels. Not this one yet down here, not that one, but all three of those. I added to my position when it came down to this level here and created a green bar, and I jumped in with, now I got two. I'm down $100. If it keeps going, $250 maximum stop loss, I'm out of this trade, and then I'm going to stop trading on this account. I'm not going to keep trading on an account until it blows. You shouldn't do that. Practice a strategy on each account, and when you hit your maximum loss on those strategies, then just stop trading. And that's the hardest thing to do, especially with evals, because the mentality is different than real money, right? That's the thing. Transitioning from video game mentality to real money is the hardest thing for a trader to do. And now the 15-minute chart, which I was liking, has broken down below the trend line. It's down to this trend line now. Let's see what happens here. But more than likely, if it's going for this pivot right here, it's probably going to stop me out. $250 stop out on that. Sometimes on an ad like I did right here, if it doesn't work out, I'll stop out and get out of that ad and keep the one just so I don't lose as it's going against me. So you get in and out of the ad. When you add something, you get in it, and then you get out of that ad, keeping the original price. Because if I would have gotten out of this as it broke down, right here would have been a good place to get out of it, because you see the green bar is ignored. Green bar turns red, green bar turns red again. So I'm just going to stick to my, it's probably wanting to go down to these pivots down here and sweep the liquidity. And if it does, it's probably going to stop me out, because I'm already at $200 in the down. But I got to keep my word on it. Okay, I stopped out of that particular trade, $253 down, $100 down on the other account. That's two accounts. I got a third account left eval. I only have 3 evals left. The rest of them are passed. 7 passed evals, 3 left. And I just couldn't take it anymore. Once I hit that 250, I actually added one more time right here to see. Could have probably scalped a little bit up here. But if it drops, it's going to go way past my $250 limit. And it's just, how do you handle a day that everything you do is not timed right, it's not working, it's going against you, and it's wrong? There's going to be days like that in trading, and if we can't make it through those days, then you can pull your hair out. So just mark it up. This is why risk management is so important, because I'm only down 350 for the day, and that's not the end of the world, because I am able to trade tomorrow. And I got another third account here. I can probably try to trade, but at this point right here, I'm not sure what I trust, because I still, when a day like this, when a day's going like this, a bullish market, right? Everything's bullish. You got to expect a correction at some point. And there's plenty of room for this thing to come all the way down to that 8 EMA. It's only the 8 EMA on the daily chart. There's plenty of room for that to come down. And even if it's a bullish day, it can create a huge pintail and come way, way down. And I guess that's why people are shorting, and I don't blame the shorts. If you're short biased, if you like to short, there's a lot of good green bar ignored opportunities. There's trend lines going in the other direction that you could short. So then, short. But when the market is very bullish like this on the daily, pintails can be expected. And the better opportunity is to try to break a trend line to the upside. In my opinion, that's what I'm looking for. I'm still looking for that somehow, and see if I can. I got my third account. If the trend line breaks, I might try it, because the daily chart is still very bullish. It doesn't mean it's going to bounce. It doesn't mean it's going to be bullish. You got those red days that just engulf and reverse the day chart. So that happens also. But I'll be looking for one more account to work with here. Let's see what happens on my third account. Something else about trend lines, it's good to draw them on multiple time frames. I got the 500 tick chart here that says, this trend line's breaking, bouncing, testing, and it might go up. If I get a red bar here ignored, that's a good buy opportunity, honestly. If we get some kind of red bar and then it breaks out, then I'd be interested in going long on my third account. But as you see on a higher time chart, this is the 5,000 tick chart. It's still got a lot of resistance. It has not broken the trend line, and there's still some trepidation in that. See how it changes what it looks like on the 5,000 tick chart. If we get a red bar here and then a green bar pushing up over it on the 5,000 tick chart, I think I'm going to ignore this 500 tick chart. Keep an eye on the 5,000 or even the 2,000 tick chart and wait for a trend line break, or just sit on my hands for a minute here. Let this morning pass and see what happens in the afternoon. All right, I took a trend line break trade that actually worked, and I took it on the account that I did the I took it on the wrong account, but anyway, it's good because it made back some of the $250 that we lost. But here's the trade. Here's the day chart. Coming down into these pin tails, the 8 EMA, it penetrated the 8 EMA and started going back up. Okay, that's a good little area to try a trend line break. If it was my first trade of the day, I'd be looking like a genius right now. Here's the trend line break. Got long right there on the green candle. Stop loss was literally under the previous doji candle. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 R returns, sold it up here. And but I actually took a trade right here. I don't know what I was thinking. Got out immediately, and I don't know. That was a bad trade. It still shows me that I'm making ridiculous decisions. And if I'm ever going to be professional, these kinds of ridiculous trades have to stop. Honestly, they do. This thing's clearly going down. I don't know why I was trying to buy there. Really, I can't even justify that. But if the day chart is bullish, we will see a bounce here, right? A continuation up, just like we did. Well, here's another example. Bullish day, red days. If it comes back down, it's going to end like this. It could always be like this, even if the market overall is bullish on the day chart, right? So don't be surprised if it keeps coming down. Don't be surprised if it ends up in a strong pintail candle. So I don't like to short when the day chart is really, very rarely do I short when the day chart is this strong going bullish, because the probability of it bouncing is greater, in my opinion. So that's where we're at today. We're down 100 in the one account, the trend line break. And see, I didn't even take this on the right account either. This should have been on my trend line break account, which I would be green. I'd be green for the day, and I'd be down 250 on the other one. So anyway, I'll see you in the next video, guys. I'm still learning, still growing, still trying to figure it all out, still making a lot of mistakes. But these videos and journaling do help. I recommend you record your trades and go back over and look at your mistakes and see what you're doing wrong. So, all right, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.